General Petraeus has been lauded in the media as a great hero. They sometimes refer to him as King David. Now, here's a guy who was in charge of Iraq when Iraq was a disaster. My God, in 03, 04, 05, 06, have you ever seen an America in such a military mess in your life? I remember before the Iraq War, everybody was so cocky. They joke around like, Iraq, ding, get rid of that guy in a couple of weeks, no problem. And then, how many years later? We started in 03, and in 06, 3 years later, it was an epic disaster. And for that, what did General Petraeus get? Commander Petraeus. Oh, General Petraeus, what an American hero! What an American hero! Back in the 1980s, when Petraeus was coming up, he wrote a paper where he talked about the most important thing is not what you do, it's the perception of what you do. Boy, he nailed it. And well, that's what got him in trouble later on. But, but what he's really been doing is sleeping with the press. As Michael Hastings put in one of his articles on BuzzFeed, this is literally, I mean, this is a term of art in journalism. When you get incredibly positive coverage because you gave access or you gave something to the reporter, it's called a blowjob piece. So the real problem is the blowjobs he's been getting from the media, right? So at this point, the only thing that could have cost Petraeus anything is a sex scandal, because that's the only thing that gets any kind of negative attention in this country. You could do a horrible job. Hundreds of thousands of civilians can get killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. Nobody gives a damn. But to this day, the media, protective of their beloved generals. Listen to Erin Burnett and why she likes General Petraeus so much.
He did with all of us. He made us all feel special by how quickly he would respond to emails.
Yes.
Oh, did he respond to emails? He made us feel so special. Well, he responded to one too many emails from Paula Broadwell, apparently. But I don't give a damn about that. What I care a hell of a lot more about is the media and how they were so besmitten by General Petraeus. He would respond to my emails. I liked him so much. He was so special to me. King David. So Michael Hastings goes on CNN. Now, he's a contributor to the Young Turks on Current. And he went and brought his particular brand of ass-kicking to Piers Morgan's show. Let's see how that turned out.
Essentially, the media has played a role in protecting David Petraeus and promoting David Petraeus and mythologizing David Petraeus. And we saw it here tonight. General Kimmett, who was a spokesperson in Baghdad, who was a roommate of Petraeus, who was involved in one of the biggest debacles in recent foreign policy history, is on TV, defending David Petraeus without actually addressing the real problems with David Petraeus' record. A number of other journalists who were actually covering David Petraeus were raising those concerns. You might not get that from someone like Barbara Starr at CNN, who essentially is a spokesperson for the Pentagon in many ways.
Oh, damn. He's hitting those two guys on his left and right, or both generals, including General Kimmett, the guy he was talking about, is on the left. And they're both like stone cold, like, what is happening? We're on television. Nobody's giving us oral. I don't get, this guy he seems to be against us. That's really weird. I'm unfamiliar with this. So, of course, Piers is going to jump in and defend the CNN reporter that Michael Hastings was talking about there at the end.
Okay, well, but Barbara's not a spokesperson for him, obviously. But let's move to Lieutenant Colonel.
Not too obviously. I've followed her coverage pretty closely, as she's covered my work before too.
Well, just because she's written naughty things about you doesn't make her a spokesperson.
No, what makes her a spokesperson is repeating without question a lot of Pentagon claims.
Look, there's very few journalists left in this country, and Michael Hastings is one of them. And he writes unflinchingly about the Pentagon. And when he did about General Stanley McChrystal, and Stanley McChrystal had to step down because of the piece that Michael Hastings wrote, which was totally true. And in fact, that's what cost him the job. McChrystal had been saying terrible things about the Obama administration and was disregarding the orders that they were giving him, which is not what you're supposed to do. Obviously, it's an enormous, enormous breach, right? So when he does that, the rest of the press flip out. They're like, what are you doing? You're breaking the rules. The rules are the Pentagon gives us a press statement, we read it on CNN, and then we give a sharp salute. How dare you do journalism? You know what they're calling Michael Hastings now, the rest of the press? A provocateur. How could you possibly provoke the government when instead we're supposed to be stroking them? Hastings ain't done with them yet. One more.
I've been in Baghdad for the last 2 weeks. It is a much different place than it was when David Petraeus took over there. There is calm.
General Kimmett was the spokesperson in 2004, lying to the American people every day.
Okay,
in 2006, he said there was progress in Iraq. I was in Iraq there, man.
Michael,
don't try to spin. You guys are just letting him spin.
Let him have his say, please.
Okay.
Listen, I was over there as a private businessman. I've been going in there for the last 9 years, both in uniform and as a State Department official, and now as a private individual.
Oh, well, then I really trust you because you're making money off of it. And Michael pointed that out later in the segment, too. Man, they were not happy with the damage that Hastings did on CNN last night. He's like, oh, so you're making money off the dealings that you have in Iraq now after you were a general in Iraq for us. Huh. Funny how that works out, right? It's so easy to call them on their bullshit. It's just that the great majority of people on TV don't do it because they're in on the scam. They're all on the same side. And their opponent is largely us. They're supposed to keep us in the dark as they go to more and more wars that turn into more and more disasters. But they're not disasters for everybody. The stock value of the defense contractors during the Bush era went through the roof. Believe me, a lot of these generals that then worked for those defense contractors made a ton of money. Somebody got paid. It's you and I who got screwed. And when Hastings points that out, that's when they get livid. By the way, Michael Hastings will be guest hosting the Young Turks on Current Television next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, along with Michael Schur and Professor Tricia Rose. Those are going to be great shows. Don't miss any of it.